I remember last year, Don and I, we were visiting some friends, and we were in Paris, and we had this awesome opportunity to be with some people. And as we were in Paris, there's this place in Paris called Hotel Coste, and it's kind of this ritzy kind of hotspot hotel restaurant. And we had heard about it from some friends, and I said, Don, I'm gonna take you to Coste. She said, Rich, you can't get into Coste. I said, girl, trust me. So we got to Coste, and as we got there's a line out the door. We waited in line. We finally made our way up to the front door, and as we got to the front door, I said, how are you, sir? We're from America, which doesn't help much in Paris. I said, sir, we want to have dinner here tonight. We've heard so much about this great establishment. He said, no. You can't get in. I said, but sir, we've traveled from America and we've been waiting in line. He said, sorry, all the tables are full. I started to kind of argue and started to kind of debate with him and just loved on him in a Christian way. And I just, come on, let us in tonight. We feel like God's called us to this place, And he said, no, there's no way. And it kind of got, a little bit louder and a little bit more, passionate. And he just said, it's not going to happen. I said, sir, we got to get in tonight. We've been waiting in line. I said, you can't get in. And so it's always awkward, right? Because my wife's not with me. She's kind of on the curb. I was like, girl, I'll take care of this. Let's just stay here, just stay here. But it's always like the walk of shame to come back and be like, hey, we didn't get in, So I walk back out to the curb, and she's going, she looks all nice. She's in a dress. She's like, we getting in? I was like, nah, babe, we can't get in. She said, what happened? I said, they're completely packed. Right about that moment, all of a sudden, this little dog came and started like nibbling on my ankle. I was like, what in the world? A little dog. And all of a sudden, this man walked out, and he was just very proper, And he said, oui, which I don't know what that means, but that's what he said. He said, how are you? And he grabbed my face like this. He goes, oui, how are you? I was like, hey, you're touching my face, but this is weird. Okay. He said, how are you? I said, oh man, we're not doing very good. We couldn't get into the hotel tonight for dinner. And he said, oh, oui. And at this point, I'm like completely helplessly, and I'm like, okay, yeah, thank you, Why is your hand on my face? This is awkward, He said, oui. He said, oui. He said, you must come in. I said, I know, sir. We want to come in. But I guess the line's too big, He said, don't you worry. Oui. I own the place. I was like, that makes sense. You got a dog up in this spot, He said, come on, follow me. I was like, all right, And we walk in, I'll never forget it. We walked back into the hotel. This is my favorite part. Because as we walked in, we just followed this man and his little dog. And I wish you could have seen the look on the guy who told us we couldn't get in his face. He said, hey! I just said, I'm with him, buddy. He said, you can't go back there. I said, I can, because the owner called me in. I want somebody to know tonight that if God calls you,